we have 3 more incredible people to honor. And they're this year's inductees into the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame. Our community and state would not be what it is without John Pestana, Jeanette Bennett, and Jonathan Johnson. Thank you for everything you've done for this state and our community, and let me be the first to welcome each of you to the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame. You're legends, and tonight we cement your legacies for all of time. Thank you for everything you're doing. Now let's make it official.
It has been a long journey. I know I'm still young, but overall I've been in the internet for a long time, since 1996 when I started building even back in 95, I was really starting to build websites for people. And it's what really got me interested overall in technology. I've had a couple of jobs, like little jobs in high school, and then I once worked for BYU in a computer lab. Beyond that, I've never worked for anyone besides myself. From there, grew into a company called JP Interactive that we were building websites. We then transitioned into being called mycomputer.com, where we were starting to build all these tools online for websites. And it's kind of funny because we had about like 9 different products, and literally every single one of those ideas ended up being multi-billion-dollar companies for somebody, just not for us. But the one that we really stuck to was called SuperStats, which was this internet technology to track the visitor behavior on websites. And once we started doing that, that's what really took off. I would say most great ideas don't just come to you. You know, you actually need some experience in a field a little bit to get familiar with things and then see where that opportunity really is. It's been fun to be a part of the Silicon Slopes community, starting back from Omniture when Silicon Slopes was really started, from Josh and I creating an entity to try and help everybody know about what was going on in Utah.
We were talking more and I was like, oh, I've started building some websites for people. Hey, why don't you come and we can do something together. So Josh was sales and I was Mr. Builder.
Growing a company from 0 to hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue is very hard. It's one of the things I even talk to my current executive team about. Every time we're in a hard spot, I literally look at them and I go, business is hard. And we have to be listening to customers. We have to be honoring our employees. We have to be, honoring our investors. We have to be doing all these things to create the perfect storm for success. This journey has been such a long time. I can't name every single person, but definitely, some of the highlights has always been, one, my parents and the support that they gave me. My dad is a little entrepreneurial spirited too, so he's always encouraged me, he's always believed in me, and same thing with my mom. Although my mom always used to ask me when I was going to finish my college degree because I had dropped out to do Omniture. I'm really excited to see where Silicon Slopes is going. We have so many talented entrepreneurs here in the state of Utah and so many great tech companies. It's fun to see this just proliferation of successful companies, and I know we're going to continue to see Utah really flourish.
Ladies and gentlemen, to formally introduce John Pestana into the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame, please welcome to the stage Silicon Slopes Hall of Famer and Domo founder and CEO, Josh James.
Well, Johnny P, what do you say? John Pestana, I've never called him John Pestana, never called him John, it's just Johnny P. John, really smart guy. In fact, my wife really likes really smart guys. So when I first started getting to know her, I'm like, you can't ever meet Johnny P. That guy goes deep on topics. There's a lot of really fun memories. And I was thinking about, the way I met John Pestana is BYU. And we're sitting there in this information systems class, 301. And I came from a background, my dad's a pilot in the Marines. We didn't have Nintendo or Atari, we had Odyssey. right? Anybody here have an Odyssey? Probably not. So we weren't really tied into what's tech. And I walk into this class, and there's this kid in the front row, and he corrected the teacher 3 times the first day. And I still remember one of the things he corrected. The teacher's like, well, you know, there's things called T1s, and there's really fast bandwidth, and there might be a T3 pretty soon. And Johnny P raises his hand. Excuse me, there's actually OC98s, and there's going to be OC196s pretty soon. And I'm like, what in the world are these people talking about? I have to be in this guy's group. And that's what I said to him that day. I'd love to be your friend. I absolutely have to be in your group. And we had a lot of fun together. I think, when I think about kind of what I learned from Johnny P, I mean, there's the three things that we did together that made our partnership work. We had the same ambition. We wanted to conquer the world. We had the same integrity in business. And then we always had a promise that we made that no one ever comes between us. And the 2 things that I was thinking about that I really learned from Johnny P, I really learned how to forgive, and I really learned how to love. The forgiveness part, Johnny P will forgive anybody about anything. I lay in my bed at night trying to think about how I can get vengeance. And I come in the next day and Johnny P's, no, we should love that person. What? And it's a much more Zen way of living. So he definitely dramatically affected my life in that way. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to get back at people, but he has fun doing it. We had a competitor called Website Story. You know, the names for internet companies back in '95 were pretty awesome, Website Story. And Johnny P noticed that they were coming to our website a lot because he would check the IP logs. And he said, these guys are copying everything that we're doing. So he went and changed it so that our web server, when anybody would come from their IP address, they would come and they would click on our website, and then it was a picture of Adam Sandler on a video saying, you just opened a can of whoop ass. So, you know, touche to Website Story. We did end up buying them later, so we got the last laugh. And then on the, loving everybody, he knew every employee's name. I would sit there, I'm like, who's this person? He's like, oh, this person's that. They have this many kids. Here's their interests. He truly loved everybody that we worked with. And it only backfired on John one time. Because, Johnny P, and there's a bunch of executives here from the Omniture days as well, but Johnny P would make friends with everyone, whether you were interested in having a new friend or not. You're sitting on a plane and he's bringing everybody in the tent. And one time we were at the Westin Bonaventure. This is an unbelievable story. You couldn't script this story better. We were at the Westin Bonaventure waiting for our car. The valet was bringing up our rental car, and Johnny P, of course, starts talking to somebody. We're like, please don't introduce, we don't want to talk to him. And we're listening to this conversation, and Johnny P's like, yeah, so this is what we do, and here's my guys I work with, and what do you do? What's your name? Oh, my name's Ron. What do you do? Wait, where did you say you're from? Oh, we're from Utah. Oh, you're not going to like what I do. And he's like, oh, really? Yeah, I'm in the porn industry. My name's Ron Jeremy, the most prolific porn producer of all time. And so that was like a quintessential moment. We were finally like, see, stop talking to everybody. But he really did, John Pestana, for those of you that had a chance to know him, his heart is as big as it can be. There's always room on the bus that Johnny P's driving for everybody. So he's a stalwart. He's one of the builders of this community. And please congratulate and welcome to the stage, John Pestana.
That's really heavy. I'm going to have somebody help me. It's nice to be here with everybody. It's a lot to live up to these intros, but I wanted to thank Clint and the Silicon Slopes board for honoring me tonight. It's definitely something that's very meaningful to me. I did want to, even though I know the video even was talking and thanking my parents and things like that, but I want to take time to thank my parents. One of the things, maybe a tiny little tidbit, my mom, when I was young, I don't know if she remembers this, I was in high school and she told me, well, she knew I was actually a music major and wanted to be a high school choir director, but she actually told me that I needed to make sure I was making at least $200,000 a year. And that's actually what kind of made me start thinking about how could I do something different to kind of get on that trajectory so that my mom would think I was going to be successful, which was interesting because my mom was a school teacher. She taught art and English. And, but that definitely inspired me and put me on a track of just trying to think bigger and trying to figure out how I could do something. Another person I definitely would like to thank is Heidi Hartle, who is my ex-wife, and the incredible influence that she had on me in our business. She believed in me always when we were getting started. When we first started the company, we actually sold all of our wedding presents and took our savings to buy our very first computer to get into business. And always was supportive, and I appreciate her and love her very much still. I'd like to also thank my kids and the support that they always give me, Allie, Audrey, and Aiden. Also Heidi's parents, Vaughn and Phyllis. Josh, of course. I think we were always inseparable. I don't know if any of you noticed the one picture that was in that video where I was sleeping under the desk. It's because no matter what was going on, we were always there supporting each other, even if we had nothing to do at the moment. I would lay under the desk, sleeping, wake up, start working again, and just always were there for each other. And I do think that if you're ever picking a partner, make sure you're picking somebody who wants to work just as hard as you. I'm thankful for the executive team at Omniture, Chris Harrington, Brett Ehrer, John Miller, Sean Lindquist, Gail Innest, and Mike Herring. It was a great team to be a part of at Omniture. And I have a great team now, too, at Observe Point. It's really fun working with people that you love. And I take a different approach, I think, than most people in business. All my best friends, at some point I've probably worked with them. And I always say it's all personal. There's no such thing as it's only business. And if you kind of live your business career that way and care about people and make sure that you're treating somebody the way that you would treat your brother, that, business goes better. And plus, if you're going to work with people, why not have them be your great friends that you're be able to build long-term relationships with? Josh isn't wrong, and when he was talking about that, I could have told you everybody who basically worked at Omniture and now at Observe Point, I care about these people, and we have tons of them here tonight, and I was grateful that all my friends were here to celebrate with me. Thank you. Another thing that's really important is finding people that really, believe in you, because that does a lot for me. When I am going into business, I hate investors that I feel like they're just making the decision to invest because all the metrics make sense to them. I love investors who believe in me because I will basically die for them to make sure that I do the best to get them their return on their investment. I wanted to personally thank Ryan Sanders and Chris Cooper, who are some of my current investors at Observe Point, for the belief that they have in us and what we're doing. And my original investors at Omniture, Joe Olivier, Steve Gibson, and Scott Frazier, and Mark Gornberg, who were always so supportive. If you've ever thought about starting something, I encourage you to do it. There's never a good time. It's always a little inconvenient and it's always hard, but it's amazing the impact that you can make on the community. Look at things that you can change and fix. One of the things that's really important to me and drives me crazy is when I see people who are not able to, overcome things because of government or other issues in life. And I personally, when I saw things like that, I wanted to help change the world here in Utah too. So I co-founded an institute called the Libertas Institute here in Utah. And we work on laws here in the state of Utah to make everybody freer. I really feel like it's one of the most important things for us as a state to feel like we're free, however that may be. And I think it's a different approach. I really believe our organization is one of the only people who's up on the hill just trying to make everybody freer. We're never trying to get money from the government. So work for causes that can make a change and that can make the world better for all of us. Finally, my Observe Point family, I'm grateful to you guys, to Rob, Jared, JD, Rob Clark, Kyle, Dave, Harold, and some of my old friends too, Chris Baird. So thanks for working with me, putting up with me as all my crazy ideas. So, you know, the ADD brains of entrepreneurs are all over the place sometime. So thank you again to the Silicon Slopes community. I know that we can make a difference here. We can make Utah the best place in the world to be. So thank you.